If you rank number one on Google Maps, but your website only converts at 1% or less, you're wasting the single best lead source you have. And that's exactly what's happening to most home service businesses right now. You see, I've audited hundreds of contractor websites, plumbers, roofers, HVAC contractors. Most of them convert under 1%. That means for every single group of 100 people who land on the site, 99% of them leave without calling you. Our client sites typically convert at 3 to 5%, and that's not just luck, it's a checklist that we use for every single site. And I'm going to walk you through the whole thing right now. Rankings get all the attention. Everyone wants to rank higher. And yeah, rankings matter. But what happens after someone clicks on your website matters just as much as actually ranking in the search results. Maybe more, because if 100 people visit your site and one of them calls, you don't really have a traffic problem, you have a conversion problem. And most contractors don't even realizing it's happening because nobody actually tracks it. And most contractors don't even realize it's happening to them because nobody actually tracks it. I put together a full CRO checklist. CRO just means conversion rate optimization. It's pretty much a fancier way of saying getting more of your website visitors to actually call you. I'm going to walk you through the whole checklist on screen. If you want to get the downloadable version so you can check your own site, I'll put the link to it in the description below. Okay, real quick, before I get into the checklist, let me show you why this actually matters. So say you're a plumber, your site gets 1,000 users a month, and at 1% conversion, that's 10 calls. Let's say the average job size is $1,000, and let's say that you close 100% of your leads, which by the way is not realistic, even for Google. That's about $10,000. Same traffic at the 3% conversion rate, 30 calls, $30,000. Triple the revenue. Same traffic, nothing changed except the website. So if your average job is worth $2,500 or $5,000, the gap is even larger. Tens of thousands of dollars sitting on the table every single month by just making a better converting website. So this is the full checklist. We're going to focus on two sections that make the most difference, starting with what happens above the fold. So above the fold refers to what a visitor sees in the first 5 seconds without scrolling at all. It's just the first load of whatever a user sees on your site. Arguably, this is the most important part of the site because, as you know, if you click on a website and the top part's boring or it just doesn't relate to what you're looking for, you are going to leave that site and not call that business. So let's walk through the most important parts. Number one is your headline includes the service and city that you operate in and that you serve. So for example, HVAC repair in Austin or plumber in Denver. Vague headlines like, welcome to our site, welcome to, Johnson Brothers Plumbing, or just reliable service. They tell Google and the visitor literally nothing about what you actually do. The next is a phone number visible on the top right or in that nav bar without the need to actually scroll to it. So it's a sticky call button is what we call that. So if someone has to hunt for your number, they're probably not going to call you. It should be literally the first thing that they see on the page. And as you scroll down on the page, it actually sticks to the top of the page so they can always call you at whatever stage of the page they're at. The next is obviously having click to call enabled on mobile. So, you need to have this phone number visible, but making it a big old button that they can actually tap on their phone to literally click and call is absolutely crucial. You need to test this on your own phone right now. The next is a call to action button above the fold on every single page. So something like get a free estimate or call now, visible without scrolling. So that's kind of what we talked about here. Pretty much the principle is if they have to go and look for the number or for your CTA button, probably they're not going to find it. And then finally, the hero image is a real photo, not just like some super stock, generic, photography. That you got off some sort of stock image website. So maybe real photos of your crew, of your trucks, of real job sites that you've done. Stock photos kind of do the opposite of building trust. And so your whole goal in the above the fold section is to show that you are a trustworthy company and that it's worth for them to call you. So on this point, let's take a look at what I would consider to be a really good homepage and a really bad homepage. And this just refers to kind of the above the fold section. So a really terrible homepage, which you might be thinking, oh, I never see sites like this. Well, I do. I look at a few dozen home service websites literally every single day. And so I've seen some pretty insane, pretty prehistoric sites that look like this. So let's just go through it. So the first thing that stands out is there's no real call to action. You're missing a phone number in the navigation bar. Which is totally fine if you don't want people calling you and you want them contacting you, but this button should be bigger than. We want to make it as simple as possible for people to call you or contact you. The next is the generic stock photo. So this is just, come on, this sucks. Now, granted, this screenshot is actually just AI generated as well, but you'd be shocked. I see so many home service sites that look exactly like this and still use stock photos like this. And then the worst thing is this generic stock headline. Welcome to our website. Welcome to X company. Nobody cares about your company really. I'm going to be honest. Just make it clear what you do and where you do it as a local service business. And then there's no customer reviews. There's literally no mention of any sort of trust factors, social proof, literally nothing. Finally, there's no specific information of these services. So it kind of just says about us, our mission. Then it has the services in the footer section, which is not sufficient enough. So now let's take a look at what I'd consider to be a really, really effective home service hero section of a website. This is one that we built for an electrical company, and it is just hyper clear what they do, where they do it, if they're well trusted or well rated, and super easy to call them. So first things first, the phone number is in the top right on the navigation bar, right next to the contact button. So obviously someone's mind thinks, okay, I want to call this company, or I want to get a hold of them. They go to the top right. They have two options here. They can click on the contact button, which brings them to the contact page where they fill out a form, which is pretty intuitive. Most people know that's how websites work. And then they have this big old scrolling call now button. So as I scroll down on the site, this sticks to the top of the page. So I don't need to scroll back up to the top and find the call button or scroll to a section where I thought it was. It's just always at the top. Next is that the headline, or typically the H1 header, is actually stating the service they offer. So commercial and residential electrician in the city, so Tampa, Florida. And what this does is two things. It helps with SEO because obviously you want your target keyword, which is your service plus city, in your H1 header, but more importantly, just in the sense of conversion rate. If I'm looking for an electrician in Tampa, Florida, and I click here on this website and see this, boom, I instantly feel like, okay, I'm at the right place. And then guess what they get hit with? The reassurances, 24/7 emergency service, licensed and experienced electricians. They offer both of these kind of realms of service work, commercial and residential. They're fast and reliable. This stuff doesn't even mean anything, but when I'm reading through it, subconsciously my brain is thinking, okay, I trust this company. Next is we use a real photo. So this is actually a real photo of one of their jobs. They did a really nice lighting setup for this home. And so we think it looks super good. And so we positioned it kind of strategically on the hero section of the homepage. Next is that the form that we built is above the fold. And I think also to touch on this form a little bit more, I know it's not super high resolution, but these sort of forms convert slightly higher than your traditional form because it's super easy for people to just click on the service. Okay, lighting, yeah, here's the light bulb, click on that. And then it starts walking you through the information that we need to collect. But just having these kind of buttons here makes it a little more fun, a little bit more kind of lower barrier to entry. You don't just have to enter a bunch of info off the rip. And then finally, we have click to call. This button is click to call. This button's click to call. But we also have their primary CTA under this kind of reassurance section on the hero section. Okay, let's talk about the contact and the forms. So your form is either the best lead tool on your website or possibly your biggest leak. And here's why. So the contact form, it gives people the option to not have to call you if they don't want to. But if you make it super high friction, a bunch of questions they need to fill out, they're going to be less inclined to actually fill it out. They want something simple. They want something where they don't have to talk to someone. And if you just make it easy for them to enter their info, what they're looking for, how you can help them, it's infinitely better. Okay, so how do we make the contact form and the CTAs better? First things first, I recommend having a contact form with 3 fields or less. Now, granted, a lot of our client sites have, 4 to 6 fields or 5 to 7 fields because they just need more information, and that's a risk that they're willing to take. But for the sake of strict conversion rate optimization, having 3 fields or less is optimal. You want their name, their phone number, and why they want to contact you. That's it. Literally every extra field typically drops your submission rate a little bit. Next is not having a Captcha on your lead form. So this is a nuanced one because if you're getting spammed and your honeypot field isn't working, which I do recommend having, you might need a Captcha. It might be worth it. If you have spam issues, I would say start by asking your developer to use a honeypot field. Super simple to set up on most CMSs, and it's much less friction than the Captcha. But if you need it, set up a Captcha. It's better to have a little bit less submissions than get blasted with a bunch of spam, in my opinion. Next is having a phone number visible on every single page, not just the contact page, not just in the navigation bar. You want to have the phone number strategically distributed across all the website pages. Next is having a contact form or call button on every single service page. So every single service or location page, as well as the homepage for our clients, we put a form in the hero section. It makes it so simple for people to contact you if they have specific questions or want to book from a specific page instead of having to navigate to the contact page. Next is that the form is actually easy to fill out on a phone screen. So as you all know, probably 80+% of all of your customers or visitors on your website are on their phones. You can check this by going to Google Analytics. It'll tell you the split between mobile and desktop, but typically it's just incredibly important that not only your whole website's optimized for mobile, but specifically those forms. They should be large, tappable, super easy to fill out. If it's frustrating when you do it, 100% you are losing leads because of that. And then kind of the last step is the form call to action says something specific. So even something like get a free estimate converts better than submit or send message. And having even more specific offers is ideal. Claim $800 rebate on sewer replacement system or whatever. So now let's look at what I'd consider to be a really bad form and then a pretty decent form. And I'll actually show you some examples of even better forms. So this form sucks, and you can see probably why. There's so much information. It's super long. On mobile, you're going to have to scroll down and down. Or if you don't have to scroll down, everything's super small, so they can't even see it well. Guys, the point of having a form is to make it a super low barrier to entry, super frictionless process on your website. You want to try to capture the minimum amount of information that you need, absolutely need, to go and operate and close this lead. So you don't necessarily need preferred date, preferred time. Service type's helpful. Home address, sometimes people need it. Email address can be helpful, but sometimes you don't even need it. How do you hear about us? It's up to you. And then message. Sometimes you don't even want to give people the option to include a message, depending on kind of what your service is. This form is pretty good, but I do have some tips. So we'll actually just go to that electrician's form and just kind of show you why I think this is optimal. So I can instantly see these little logos for every single electrical service. If I'm looking just on my phone real quick and I have a Tesla and I need to set up a new EV charger, I'm just going to click on this and bang, brings me to how do we contact you section. You fill it out, go to next, and then address, existing customer, new customer, and then bang, you submit. You've already gained consent to send them SMS, WhatsApp, email, etc. And you can go and proceed and close this lead. And it was super low barrier to entry because people just think, oh, hey, it has a little step bar, shows it that it makes them think that it's going to be super quick. You say, we'll get back to you pretty soon. This should actually be a lot better than this. And they just have these buttons to click on. Quick pause. I'm walking you through the top 2 sections of our master CRO checklist right now. There are 3 more sections on the full checklist: trust signals, speed and mobile version, and site structure, which are super important as well. If you do want the full document so you can go through your own website and fix it up to get more leads, links in the comments and the description section below. It's free, but let me cover a few more things real quick. So the third section on the checklist is trust signals, Google reviews embedded on your actual homepage, license and insured badges, before and after photos from actual jobs you've done, as well as, serving Austin for 24 years, industry logos. A homeowner lands on your site for the first time and decides within 10 seconds whether they want to trust you enough to call you. These are the things that tip that scale. All of that is on the checklist with specifics. The fourth section is speed and mobile. If your site takes more than 3 or 4 seconds to load on a phone, you've already lost 40% of your website's visitors before they even see your homepage. So test it yourself right now. You can actually go to pagespeed.web.dev, type in your URL, and if your mobile score is under 50, that's a huge problem. Under 30 is an emergency, and anything under 85 is kind of suboptimal. Let me show you the last page of the checklist, the math. Going from 1% to 3% conversion on a site with 1,000 monthly visitors can equal around 20 extra calls per month from the same exact traffic. Now, if we look at the job value, let's say that you're getting 1,000 monthly users, and you go from 1% to 3% conversions at an average job value of $1,000, that's an additional $20,000 a month without even getting any more traffic. So no more ads, no more marketing spend, literally just fixing your website's conversion rate. You can add an additional $20K a month in top line revenue. Now, if you're at $2,500 per job, that can be an additional $50K a month. If you're at $5,000 per job, an additional $100K a month. Now, this is without factoring in close rate, sales process fall off, etc. So obviously these numbers are just totally projections. This is not guaranteed that you will actually bring in this extra money, but the math checks out. If you are able to double or triple your conversion rate on your website, whatever you're making from it now can literally double or triple without changing your traffic, having the same ad spend, the same SEO rankings, literally just having a website that converts better. That's the two biggest sections, above the fold and your contact forms. If you fix those two things, you'll see a difference almost immediately. The full checklist has a couple more sections covering trust signals, speed, and site structure. Links in the comments and the description below. Pull it up next to your website and start checking things off. That said, if you're a home service business owner and you don't want to figure all this out yourself, our team handles this for our clients. We'll audit your website, we'll fix all the conversion rate issues, and we'll make sure that the traffic you're actually getting turns into calls. If you want me to audit your business live and show you exactly how to get more calls from Google search and AI search results, apply to work with us at the first link in the description below. We'll jump on a free consultation. That's it. See you in the next one.